Hello and welcome back to Kaizen with Luca. So today we are going to be tying this little bow with this concept of people do not buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And if you recall from the founding trilogy episodes, I talked about um, how, what, and why. And this is that Simon Sinek, I guess, philosophy or idea of everything. You start with why. It's from his book called Start with Why, which is a book that I am reading. Fantastic book. It's helping to lead a lot of the ideas and the concepts and helping me really figure out what I want to be talking about, how I want to lead myself, how I want to lead this business, how I want to lead all of you in a community-based aspect. And that's the whole thing, right? It's why do you do what you do? So for the why, if you can go all the way back and talk about it. But I keep exploring this idea of why, and keep revisiting certain areas or building it out, and it keeps kind of evolving. But one of the examples that he talks about in his book, and honestly, I mean, it's really kind of the perfect example. We go back and forth all the time. If you're somebody in the tech space, iPhone, Androids, right? It's always you're either one or the other, right? And I think the argument out there in the tech space is like, oh, well, Android is so much better because they are so innovative, they're so ahead, they keep coming out with new things. And iPhone, they just copy Android and they're like 4 years behind. Okay, solid argument, right? I used to be somebody that was a big Android dude. And I mean, I'm sitting here on a PC. I'm not playing this on a Mac or anything. I'm not fully in the Apple ecosystem. But the idea of Apple at its founding was not to just create handheld products, right? It was what's their motto? I'll test you. I'll give you a couple seconds. Apple motto. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's think differently, right? Apple wants you to have a mindset when they use their products. They want you to think differently. And they have this whole thing of going against the grain and being different. And they built this entire philosophy around their product. And their why is to be different, to stand up to, I think they were talking about like it's the corporate, ideas of like technology at that time. Like there was just kind of a hold on technology, and they didn't really change anything. But Apple makes you feel something. They make you feel a part of something. They make you feel. They really focus on how their product feels in your hand. They really focus on really the branding as a whole, and it all ties back to why they do that thing. And I was on TikTok, I think it was like last week or something. I saw something about Apple, and people were talking about how Apple's not really innovative, and I argued with that because I do believe that Apple is innovative. I mean, think about what Apple has done with iTunes, early on, right? Everybody wanted an iPod. Everybody wanted to get one of those, and it was like, if you didn't have an iPod, or if you didn't have like whatever the thing was at the time, then you're missing out. And Simon Sinek talks about this exact thing. This is not like an original idea that I had to talk about, but this idea of iTunes and the iPod, when Apple released that product, there was another one out there already. I forgot what it was called. But basically, it was just like an MP3 player, right? And they said you can hold, I think it was like something like 2 gigabytes or whatever of music. Now, when you hear that, what do you think? Like, do you know how many 2 gigabytes of music is? Like, what if 2 gigabytes is like, let's just say 30 songs or something, even though I know it's not 30 songs, but like, let's just say, right? That's what they were marketing this whole thing as. And Apple comes out literally with the same product, the same thing, with their iPod, and they said it was 1,000 songs in your pocket, and they ran with that. So like, they always just brought it back to their audience, who they were trying to target with this. Let me look up, just so we have. Okay, so Apple's why, the core purpose of Apple, according to Simon Sinek, is to challenge the status quo and think differently, right? Think differently, we always see that. But 1,000 songs in your pocket. What are you most likely going to buy? If you saw these things side by side, if you saw 2 gigabytes of music, or like, I'm really kind of phrasing that terribly, but like, that's kind of how it was, right? You get 2 gigabytes of music instantly, or we could try to make it sound more appealing, but like, or 1,000 songs in your pocket. I think that 1,000 songs sounds way better. If you didn't know anything about Apple, if you didn't know anything about the other company, then that's they're trying to make you feel something. They're trying to make you visualize and see yourself doing it. Same thing with Dell, right? I think Dell built a company on what they do and how they do it. They didn't build a company on why they do it. And Simon Sinek also talks about this, so it's not an original idea either. And a lot of ideas that I have are not original. They're just things that I read and apply to myself, and see where I can fit those into my life and all that kind of stuff. So this idea of Dell and Mac really stood out to me because I've had a Dell computer. I've actually never owned a Mac. Mac OS is really difficult for me to use because I haven't spent much time in it, and I'm so used to Windows. But I used to own a Dell. And this is something that I never thought about. And this is something that really made me think, like, wow, this is super impactful. For a long time, Dell's logo would face the user. And when you flipped it up to use it, the Dell logo would be upside down. So anybody seeing you use a Dell computer, that logo facing them would be upside down. That's awful. That is awful. Like, you may be thinking, well, Luca, that's not, like, honestly that terrible. Like, who really cares about a logo? But when you look at an Apple computer, that Apple logo faces out. It shows that you are using an Apple computer. The materials they use, it's all metal, no plastic. The logo lights up. It makes this really nice little chime, like, oh, like, it feels different, right? And that's the thing, like, it's all feeling. It's all how they make you feel. You hold an iPhone without a case on, It's smooth. It feels soft to the touch. Like, there's so many things about how they do things that all leads back into why they do things. So, this whole idea that I'm building is all tied into, it's all built off the same framework. So I'm just gonna pull up real quick. Let me just get off Minecraft. I'm gonna pull up real quick my formal why, how, and what, or what, how, why. So if you've been watching the shorts, you would have heard me say at the end of every short, direction changes everything. That is ultimately my why. That's the first sentence of my why. My why starts with, because direction changes everything. The work began personally, and I wanted to show up fully for, my relationships professionally, to myself as a person, and the reality that so many people face that are walking through life without the foundation that I have found. That everybody is capable and willing, but without a real framework to find themselves, cannot be unseen. So Kaizen exists to close that gap. And we're going to do that with honesty, humility, and without exploiting the vulnerability that comes with wanting to grow. Because out there, so many people are trying to exploit you and giving you these tools to go out and find yourself and all that kind of stuff. And I don't want to be that person that exploits, because I want to make sure that the people that work with me, the people that work with me truly gain value and know that it's not a money grab type of thing. So how am I going to achieve that? And I'm going to achieve that through cohorts. And there's going to be guided journaling. There's going to be a private community that we call the garden. And all of this is built for depth, and it's not performative, because I don't really want anybody to share what they're doing until the work is done. The same thing that I've been telling you all along with Arnold, right? Arnold does the work when nobody's looking. And that's exactly what we are going to do. We're all going to do the work while nobody's looking. And then all of a sudden, when you show up on Christmas Day for, a holiday, doesn't necessarily have to be Christmas. I'm just picking that personally. When you show up on a holiday and the whole family's together again, and they see, all the growth that you've done, because, maybe you think a little bit differently on life. Maybe you have a different speech pattern, or maybe you just carry yourself differently. There's an aura about you to kind of connect into our younger generation there. They're gonna be like, oh, like, when did you do all that? And it's just something silent. So we're not performing this work. This is all just done privately, because you're not doing it for anybody but yourself. And then the what. The what is a 4-week framework that builds the self-knowledge required to live and work with genuine intention and to use the tools of this moment. And yes, that includes AI. I think we can all agree, and I just heard this at work. We all can agree, no matter what we think about AI, that it ain't going anywhere. So if there's anything that this can do, besides giving you the tools that you'll need to succeed without AI, because I'm going to be honest, you don't need to use AI at all in this Kaizen sprint. And to be honest, I might even make it optional. Well, I can't really tell you what to do or what you can't do, but like, I'll say this is an optional thing for you to do. If you want to use AI, go for it, and I'll support that. If you don't, that's also fine. You don't have to use AI. You can use the classic pen and paper. And I would even, I would use classic pen and paper too, honestly, because, and here's actually what I'm doing, because I'm doing the sprint. I've been doing the sprint because I want to make sure that I go through this and I understand it fully before I go out and tell people what they should or should not be doing or whatever. Like, I need to make sure that I understand what I'm actually trying to teach, or how I want to inspire people. I have to live it. So I've been doing this. I'm actually using AI. I've been chatting with Claude, and with that, I have been writing down. So I chat with Claude, and then from my chats with Claude, I will look at the things that we talk about, and then take those things. I put them into, because I've been typing it up. So I actually take those things and I put them into a separate, like, free form, I guess, like, document. And I basically just write, the answers there, and I paste those answers back in. I don't know why I keep forgetting how to make fence gates or posts. So that's actually what I do. So I'm combining the tech together. And that's one way that you can do it. If you wanted to use like a pen and paper approach, you can just use, actually this serves better as you can just use it in tandem like that. So that's one option. Or you can do your chats fully in AI, and then have it curate a document of everything that you talked about. And then it's already, pretty much pre-written for you, and you don't have to worry about anything because it's all said and done. And that's also an option. And neither of them are wrong. But yeah, that's the framework. So we use modern tools. We use the classic tools. There is something about pen and paper that I think makes you think more, but what I absolutely love about using AI to enable this type of thinking is because not a lot of people are using AI to enable this type of thinking. A lot of people just use it as like a search engine type based tool, and that's fine. But at the end of it, there's just so many different and unique ways that you could use AI that could just unlock a lot more potential in you. And it's an AI for good kind of mindset, because this whole idea is reliant on coming up with tools that you can apply to any role in your life or anywhere in your life. And if you have this tool that you can always go back to and lean on when you need, a little piece of wisdom, it understands you a little bit better because you've done the work with AI. So that's kind of the idea there. And obviously you don't have to do that, but it just helps serve as a nice little guide for people. So yeah, we just really try to dig into who you are and like who you want to be and what you want to do. And I think all those things are super important. And, we can use AI to help us figure all that out. So that's the fundamentals there. All right, so back to what I was talking about. I'll also talk about what this actually means from a non-off-the-dome standpoint. So just to reiterate, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And what that actually means is that every creator, every builder, every person who has ever made something every creator, every person who has ever made something that mattered, led with belief. Not product, not features, not credentials, belief. And the people who found that belief recognized something in themselves and stayed. The ones who did not find it left. And that's not failure. It's actually filtering for the right audience. You're finding the people that resonate with you. And you're filtering out all the noise. And you're finding those that truly care about what you're building and what you're doing. So here's how we can apply this today. Little homework for you, as always. Think about something you subscribe to, support, or something you follow. And not because of what they make. So like, same thing with Apple here, right? You're not doing this in terms of Apple. And so yeah, think about something you support, something you create. Not because of what they make, but because of what they believe. So what is the belief? And what is the belief? You're going to answer that first. I'm going to try to get these. Actually, let me go see if there's any cows that are close to me. Now ask, after you find out what the belief is, ask, does anyone watching this channel know what you believe? Maybe this is more so asking me the question. But maybe you guys don't know what I believe. Hopefully I've talked about what I believe, because, you know, I believe in everybody that's watching this. But ask yourself, you can also ask yourself, you know, does anybody know what you believe? Not what you're trying to build, but what you believe. And make sure you do this. Just make sure you do this at the end of the day today. Sorry, my notes seemed a little more aimed at me for some reason, when it should be aimed more so at you. But basically what we could boil this down to is that, you know, you need to think about, you know, something that you subscribe to, something you support, something you follow. Think about what you believe, or what. Don't think about what they make. Think about what they believe, and then you're going to then look at that and think about, you know, what do you believe? Do people know what you believe? And you're gonna just write that down. So it's gonna take a little bit of thinking, but sorry, that was throwing a little curveball for myself there. But I'll wrap this up. We put the roof on-ish. We need to finish up the half slabs there and put a little bit of a front and back on it, and then it'll be all set to go. But I hope that you all have a nice rest of the day. It's a Friday, so enjoy the weekend. Go in with some good intentions, and I'll catch you all tomorrow in the next one. See ya.